Hey guys, it's Chris. I'm excited to join you today for another training that we're doing. And today we are going to be talking about managing staff, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly. Everything that you guys are challenged with, a number of things that people, get as advice and it might not be working out. I know that's something that comes up over and over again when we have women calling in for support and empower. So we're really going to dive deep today because at the end of the day, where you are right now, right, challenged and struggling to get the result you need out of your business and out of your staff, you know that there's a gap between right now where you are and where you're looking to be. And so you know that what's going to bridge that gap is making sure that you have staff that can execute, that can support you, that can make sure to be part of your vision and get you where you need to be, because you know that you can't just keep taking on more and more onto yourself, because there's no way you can push harder to get to your goal. That's a conversation we keep happening, right? At a certain point in time, there's just no more of you left to give, right? And there's still this huge gap between where you are right now and where you're looking to be. And one of those key components to bridge that gap is being able to effectively leverage staff, to have a team to be able to support you and support the growth that matches your vision, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about some of the struggles that you guys are specifically experiencing today, talk about why they're happening, talk about how to shift that immediately so that's not what you're experiencing anymore, and how to really bridge the gap in the quickest, most effective way to get to where you're going so that you're not stuck in the muck anymore, right? Those are some of the things that we're going to talk about. It just keeps coming up over and over again in our calls and our conversations when women are coming in talking about empower, and then what we're working through, obviously, in much more greater depth through the Empower program, right? But today we're going to talk about some of those struggles, right? So the first one that we're going to talk about is a lot of times we have women call in, and just like you, they tell us, right? You feel that no matter how hard you try, no matter what you try, managing staff is just so much more work than just freaking doing it yourself, right? That's a common one that we find. And it comes up in a lot of different ways. Like, one of the things that they say is that they try and delegate to the staff and they come back and whatever they did is wrong, right? And so over and over again, regardless of what happens, they just have to end up doing it themselves. So you're doing double work. You're paying someone to do it. They're ending up doing it wrong. And then you're taking the time to do it yourself, time that you don't have. And then this frustration keeps building up, because at the end of the day, isn't that why you have staff to begin with? So it's this cycle that keeps feeding, where the work product isn't what you need it to be. You definitely can't sacrifice, your client being upset about that. So you just suck it up and you do it yourself, and you're in this constant struggle, right? And that's not working, because there comes a point where you just want to punch that person in the nose because they just are not getting it right, and you can't tolerate the buildup of the frustration and the resentment anymore, right? So that's one. Another one that people talk about is that no matter what, they try and coach and talk to their staff, but they can't get them to actually do the work, right? Where you give them timelines, or you give them a project, or you give them a task, or you give them a client to manage, and then you circle back and then the work just isn't completed, right? Things are falling through the cracks. It's really jeopardizing your relationship with a client. But no matter what, they're just not executing. They're not doing what needs to be done, right? Another one that comes up is that you have this exorbitant amount of work, right? You're just literally getting piled on. Another project comes in, you were executing on a project, and then the project grew, so you have more work. And instead of taking the time to really discuss it with a staff member and leverage or delegate, you think to yourself, well, it'd just be faster if I do it myself, right? The time that I'm going to take to leverage that staff member, the time that it takes to even tell that person what it is that I need from them, I could just do it myself because it'll already be done by then. So that's part of what we're talking about, right? All of those things, whether they're doing it wrong, whether they missed a deadline, whether there's just too much work and you're not even delegating or giving it to them to begin with, all of those things are indicative of, the fact that you believe, or the situation that you're in right now is that it's more work for you to delegate than to just do it yourself. What happens, right? What's the result of that? All of those things pile on and create a scenario where you are tremendously overworked, right? You're put back into that box, you're put back into that situation where you are doing the work, you are fulfilling on your client work, you're actually stuck in the business doing the operations instead of being in that leadership position that we keep talking about, right? Because if you're stuck in the muck consistently, right, like every day just trying to hustle and dig yourself back out, then how can you ever get to the point where you are actually managing the team and moving forward if the majority of your work is actually fulfilling the client work and running the guts of your business, right? That's one, because you're overworked and you're burnt out, and more this frustration is building because you see that payroll going through every week, every 2 weeks, and you see the workload that you're doing, and it doesn't make any sense to you, right? Why do I keep doing this cycle when I would just be better off doing it myself? That's one of the results. And two, how do you think, this is something that a lot of people don't consider, how do you think your staff feels, right? That's one thing that is surprising when we ask the question. How do you think your staff feels when their entire day-to-day experience is that they're not doing a good enough job, they're missing deadlines, they're not completing the work that they know you need to do, or you're not even coming to the place where you're asking them because you feel like you can do it yourself? They, in that position, feel frustrated. Maybe not to the same level of frustration that you do, but it's really frustrating to be in a position and have that be your job, right, as your staff member, and feel like you're not excelling in that position. Who likes to be in an unsuccessful job? Who likes to feel like they're falling short? Who likes to feel like their boss is frustrated with them all the time? Who wants to maintain in that situation, right? So more and more, your staff member is feeling like they're not excelling, they're not succeeding, they're getting more down on themselves, right? They're continuing to believe that this is just not working out, and it continues that downward spiral where they might be even more reluctant to ask you for help. They might be even more reluctant to go above and beyond and be able to work with you because everything they're getting on the other side is frustration, you know what I mean, missed expectations, all of those different things. So for you and your staff together, it's like this horrible cycle, and in no way, shape, or form does this kind of arrangement get you any closer to your goal, right? Because your goal is to step back into that leadership position. Your goal is to do the job of the owner, which is what? We talk about it in one of our foundational trainings. It's to, one, maintain and craft the vision of the business. It's two, to put the right people in place. And three, it's to make sure obviously there's money in the bank, right? To be able to make the whole thing go forward. But none of those things are doing the operational work. So when you're in a situation where you believe deep down that it's more work to delegate than to even do it yourself, you're literally 100% working against your role as a leader. So the question is now, what can you do with your staff right now to be able to shift the situation, right? So one, changing your beliefs so that you identify with your role as the leader, right? You're not supposed to do any of this stuff. You're literally not supposed to do any operational work. So if you're in a situation where whoever your staff are, whatever your staff are, you need to leverage them to close the gap and make sure to fulfill your work product to your clients, what can you do right now? What are the strengths, right, of your current staff? What can you do to bridge where they are and empower them with the tools and the support to get them to execute the way that you need, right? Because the first thing is to manage it right. And the first thing is shifting that perspective to where you doing the work is not an option. It's just not. Because you continuing to live in that cycle is 100% going to keep you from where you're looking to go with your business. Whether it's 7 or 8 figures, whether it's like 10 or 25 grand a month, it doesn't even matter what your goal is. Your consistent default of absorbing and just doing the work yourself and putting it on your own plate is in direct contradiction of where you're looking to go, right? And that's one of the biggest reasons why you're not able to manage your staff properly. Because when you eliminate the opportunity to do it yourself, all of a sudden there's no other choice, right? There are definitely things you need to shift, and every employee is different in the way that they might be lacking or missing, you know what I mean, where you're looking to go. But all of a sudden, there's no more opportunity for you to do it. So it eliminates this huge burden from you to where now it's orchestrating the pieces of the puzzle to make sure that the client delivery is still there and you're able to run your business properly, but no more are you taking out the trash, dotting the I's and crossing the T's, putting together the proposals, doing the client review calls, actually doing the work product, whatever it might be, right? Reconciling accounting, all the things that you shouldn't be doing. The list goes on and on and on, right? So making sure to look at it truly where they are owning all of the client delivery and you're very clearly communicating, managing expectations, and supporting them, which is what your goal is as the manager, the leader, the owner, but nothing about doing the work yourself, right? So that's one shift. Two, another thing that comes up all the time, honestly, is a couple different things. On the one hand, we have people that think like, I really am too nice, I'm so friendly, I love my staff, I just don't know where that line is where I don't want to cross because I need them to take me seriously. I need them to make sure to execute. I don't want them to take advantage. I'm so nice and I give them every opportunity. Like, really, where does that put me because I'm in a bad situation? Or an underlying belief where you feel like you almost need to flip a switch and become like this hard-ass person that hates their staff to actually get them to perform. None of those things are really real, right? At the end of the day, if you're a hard ass and you manage through fear, negative reinforcement, and punishment in the most severe like definition of what that is, people leave, right? No one wants to be in that environment long term. It's not why they stay. People don't stay. Staff doesn't stay because of money. Staff doesn't stay because of, a lot of different things. People stay with you because of you. People choose to stay with an organization because of the person, because of the leader, because they identify with your message and your vision and they believe that you care and they're going to be a better person and they get to be part of a bigger impact in the world because of you. That's why people stay. That's why they become like unpoachable and worth their weight in gold. They stay because of you, right? So if you have, for some reason, put it in your head that you can't be too nice or you have to be a hard ass, both of those things are bullshit. That's not real, right? What ends up happening when you have this like idea that you can't be too nice and you have to be harder or whatever it is that inevitably what it creates in you as the owner is a lack of certainty or confidence in the way that you're managing your team, right? We have people come to us and talk to us about this and they're like, well, I know this person did something wrong, but I didn't jump in and fix it. Or I was afraid that if I said that, they would take it the wrong way and it didn't really work out, whatever it might be, right? What ends up happening is that you end up almost walking on eggshells with your staff, right? And that doesn't work. You can't be in a situation where you're not living authentically and managing your business the way that you know it needs to be managed, right? Because the way that clients are served, the way that the experience for your client is delivered, the way that you take care of your staff, all of those things. That comes like from your heart. Clients love you and come to you and work with you instead of somewhere else because of the fact that you are superior in what you deliver. You actually care about the results, and that comes through your entire organization. So don't think for any second that you have to be unsure or betray that part of you that is like all about your heart or loving your staff or loving your clients or any of those things. No, you need to dig deeper into that and know that that is where like your true self is, where you can speak with authority and confidence when something's not going right. You know what I mean? Because if you never know where the line is in terms of where to manage or be too friendly or not too friendly, like with your staff, it creates, like I said, that hesitation or that lack of confidence. I want you to just completely put that out of your mind. At the end of the day, there's no line, right? There's no like universal line for everyone. What matters is that you create a culture in your organization that matches you and the vision for your business that you want to portray, right? A vision of a culture where everyone is coming together as family and they care more than anything about the outcome for the client. A vision where it's collaborative, where if Jack is struggling on a project that he's doing, then Susan's going to jump in and doesn't even need to be asked and pick up the slack and be able to work as a team to be able to meet the deadline, right? It's an environment where there's no blaming, right? Because that's the opposite of something like that. Like, Jack didn't hit his deadline. Why is it my fault? And I have to pick that up. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you foster a collaborative environment where people really care, they put the client first more than anything, and they have a genuine desire to not only grow your business, right? And are so invested in your vision and what you want to accomplish, but it spreads into a team building effort where they don't want just your success as the owner, they want their peers and their colleagues to succeed too. They want their subordinates, their direct reports to succeed too. Whether or not you're an owner operator and you're working by yourself, or whether you have just a couple staff, or whether you have a multi-million-dollar organization and there are multiple stages in the hierarchy, the way that you top down manage your staff, empower them, lead them, train them, support them, and have a genuine desire for what it is that they're doing and how it is that they're succeeding, the more that will trickle down throughout your entire organization to further direct reports, right? And your frontline, to peers. You create that culture based on the way that you interact, the way that you manage, the values that you instill in your staff. And you might say, if you're an owner operator, well, that's not really applicable to me. It's just me and I'm hustling my ass off trying to actually get something to work. But whether you have like one staff and it's part-time and they're an assistant, or whether you have, like I said, hundreds of staff, culture comes from the person. And it is like, it has to be a conscious effort to foster that, right? Whether it's like all hands on deck and like the building is on fire and everyone's just trying to do whatever they can, or whether everything's going swimmingly, right? That's not real. You can't wait until everything's perfect and you have an 8-figure business and be like, now it's time for me to work on culture. It doesn't work like that. When you don't foster the proper expectation, interaction, culture, heart in your business from the get-go on the foundation, all of a sudden you're building on sand and there's really nothing there, right? Everyone's unhappy. There's discord across all of your staff. Managers can't manage direct reports. Direct reports don't listen to managers. All those different things come. It's from the culture that you create in your staff, and not worrying about like nice or not nice, hard or not hard. You have to be authentic to what you know is right. And you have to care genuinely about your staff. It's through that care. It's through that genuine effort of wanting the success of your staff, right? That you're able to tell them, like, through love, because you want them to have the right benefit. Like let's say you have a salesperson, right? And let's say they keep blowing their calls. Is it being too nice when you go through and you teach them how to be able to better go through their calls so that they can hit their sales goals? No, it's because you care about the success of that person, to make sure to give them the feedback and support and training and coaching they need to be able to hit the goal. Or do you think it only works if you're a hard ass? No, because if you like 100% tear apart that salesperson, they already know that they're doing a poor job. They already know that they're not hitting their sales goal. Does it help for you to tell them that they're horrible or they're not getting it done or you need to be able to get it by this week or else you're out? No, neither of those things work. When you think about it the same way you would approach a friend or your child or a colleague or whatever it is, you want their best effort. You care about that staff member. You know what their financial goals are for this week and for this month and about their family. And you know that inside they're freaking out because they're not hitting their sales goals. So it's from a place of like caring and love and your genuine desire for them to succeed as an individual that you coach them through that problem that they're having so that they can move forward, excel, and then like meet that level of expectation that you're looking for. It's not about too nice or too hard or any of those things. You just need to be your 100% authentic self, and you need to care truly and genuinely about the person that you're coaching or that you're employing so that you can both work together to their success and your success. Right? Because again, you can't get to where you're going without really learning how to manage staff effectively and making it to where they absolutely love working with you, right? So it's really standing in that leadership and being able to get to that point that is the biggest difference, okay? So next belief or struggle or problem that we have people come to us all the time and talk to us about is this. Lots of times people come in and they're like, Chris, they call into Empower for help and they're like, I can't get good staff. There's just no one that's good. Like, I know at the end of the day, I'm the owner and no one's going to care about the business like I'm going to care about the business. No one's going to work as hard at the business as I'm going to work as hard at the business. So whatever, but I just can't get good people. I don't know if they don't exist. I can't find them. I keep trying. All of that is crap, right? Like, that's not real. Do you think when you look around you that there's no good staff anywhere for any staff or any business for any owner anywhere? No. I bet you if you sat down and looked, there are dozens and dozens of people that you know that do an exceptionally good job for other businesses, right? You too have the exact perfect people, the exact perfect staff waiting for you out there, but your imaginary belief that no one is going to work as hard as you and no one's going to do as good of a job as you, already when you bring someone in, is setting them up for failure. You already expect for them to be crappy, right? You already expect that. So if your bar is like so low, right, that comes to a point where, let's say you're in a boat, right? And the boat is just, God help you, got holes in it, is leaking, and you don't even know what to do, right? You cannot for the life of you, like, take a bucket and empty out the water quick enough, right? You're sinking in the boat. That's, for a lot of you, how you might feel in your business. You're doing everything you can just to tread water and stay afloat, whether it's from cash flow, whether it's from workload, whether it's from, just burning yourself out, working 100 hours a week, whatever it is. You're like all hands on deck, right? It's just madness. So when you have this expectation or this belief, like, whatever, I just need help because everyone's going to suck anyway. Imagine you're in this boat and you're like taking buckets out and you're just doing everything you can, right? And you just call to the shore and you're asking for anyone, a warm body is what we call it, right? You're just bringing anyone. Oh, I have a sister or a friend that can help you with your business. Great, I need help. You know what I mean? I'll try them. I'll do anything. You're just getting any kind of warm body to be able to take water out of the boat so you don't sink, because you're doing everything you possibly can to be able to do that. So the lowest level, right, is you're just bringing a warm body to try and carry water out of the boat and to be able to make it where you don't sink. Because you have all of this workload, you have everything that you need to do, and you're doing your damnedest to keep your boat afloat, but it's like just you and whatever staff you have. You need another hand on deck. So when you do that and you get a warm body, just to carry on with the analogy, let's say the warm body that you got is like a 2-year-old toddler. It's not as strong as you would like. It's not as tall as you would like. Can't even freaking reach over the side. Can't lift the bucket. Can't really do anything. All it is you called for help and you got this person who's like adorable as all get out and a really nice person and has a desire to help, but they're not set up to be the right help that you need. They don't have the skill set. They don't have the makeup. Nothing works. You literally just plugged anyone that you could and put them into your boat and said, please, just like, start taking water overboard because I'm sinking. And that is so much of what the problem is, right? When you already have that expectation that there's no good help out there, you're just accepting any warm body, and you get someone that's completely not ideal for your business, and you're plugging them in and just praying that it works, and then you don't know why you're in the same cycle and you're going again and again and again and again. So one level up from a warm body, right, is like, let's say, I don't know, a bodybuilder, right? Like, let's say a bodybuilder is going to come over super strong, super tall, whether it's a chick or a guy, I have no idea. It doesn't really matter. Both of them could kick your butt because they're a bodybuilder. You're bringing them in. They got buckets. They're executing on exactly what you need, right? They're taking the water overboard. All of a sudden, you're able to like float a little bit more. You feel the difference. You don't have to like take buckets and put water overload as much. Your workload has dropped an inch, right? You're not really safe, but you're actually able to like breathe a half an inch, right? That's one more thing. You get someone that's a little bit more skilled, a little bit more of what you need, but your boat is still sinking. It's ridden with holes. It's not working, right? And because you're so fixated on what's not working and all of the water that you need to get out of your boat so you don't drown, and your entire livelihood that you've put all of this blood, sweat, tears, and personal sacrifice into, not to mention a ton of money, you can't have it sink, right? And that's all that you're thinking of. So like, yes, I finally got a bodybuilder, but that's not what you needed either, right? You didn't need the toddler who couldn't get water out of your boat. You didn't need the bodybuilder who could get water out like nobody's business and way better than you. What you needed was to be able to stand back and say, how do I solve the problem so I not only don't sink, but I can sail across the world anywhere my heart's desire? For that, you need someone to come in and repair the boat, right? Because you actually have to be able to see the fundamental issues and the holes in your business. And you don't need a toddler. You don't need a bodybuilder. What you need is someone to fix the holes in the boat, because then you don't need any of those people. Now you need sailors to be able to sail around the world, right? Now you need like a chef to be able to cook you whatever it is that you want. All of a sudden, it's fun, it's positive, it's enjoyable. You're crafting your like voyage, sailing around the world to any destination you would ever desire, instead of being stuck trying to get buckets of water out of your leaky boat and praying with all of your might that you do it fast enough so you don't drown and take everyone with you. The reality is that the perfect staff are there waiting for you, dreaming of you. And as frustrated as you are that you can't find the right staff, they are just as frustrated, if not more, that they're with the wrong boss somewhere else right now. Because no one is meant to lead them but you. No one is meant to be able to take them on that voyage around the world but you. And until you get to the point where you can step out, see that, and fix the holes in your boat, you can never bring on the sailor. You can never bring on that personal chef. You can never bring on whatever else you need on a voyage around the world, because I'm out of my analogy, right? You are meant to do that. And until you stop trying to get those buckets of water out of your boat and using every fiber of your being to try and stay afloat, you can never shift into the next step of what you need, right? So the staff are not the problem. The talent is not the problem. The problem is that cycle of you trying to do everything you can not to be in a sinking ship, right? So those are literally some of the biggest struggles that we see, are the women calling into empower, trying to fight against, right? And at the end of the day, part of it is definitely understanding how to shift out of that, to leverage the staff that you have now, to be able to manage them more effectively, to stop accepting any work as the owner yourself, and make sure that your function is to lead, manage the vision, and put those pieces together. Now, if you're saying to yourself, that's great, but I don't know how to leverage my existing staff. That's great, but I don't know how to stop doing the work myself. That's great, but I have more holes in my bucket that I could or my boat than I could possibly ever imagine, and I have no idea how to be able to plug those holes. If you're saying, I know that that's where I need to go, 7 figures, 8 figures, or even just cash flowing at the same amount of revenue that you are right now, so you're not falling further and further behind in your personal bank account, right? And working 100+ hours a week for peanuts, right? If that's where you are, then we're here to support you, right? That's where we come in. That's what we do every single day with our Women in Empower. It is absolutely not hard, right? It's not that it's not hard. It's definitely a lot of work, but it's not some magic riddle, right? It's not some complicated, ridiculous way to get from where you are right now to where you want to go. It's very, very, very simple. And if you're looking for that support to figure out how best to fix your staff, how best to fix your boat, really what you need to be able to go there, because you know that's what you need. And right now, right, it's November 29th. It's like, what, 32 days until 2018 is done. Imagine being on the other side. Imagine being able to shift and know exactly how to be able to transition where you are to where you have that rock star staff, right? The staff of your dreams, that you just have to think of the vision that you're looking for, and then your actual leadership team throughout your organization not only executes, but accelerates how quickly your business is able to meet that vision and hit that level of success and accomplishment, right? It's a completely different life. But the beautiful thing about that is that you can just choose right now. You can choose to step into that. You can let go trying to take every fiber of your being, right, and empty out the leaky boat from the water that never stops filling it. You can step out of that and you can be completely different in terms of the trajectory that you're looking to grow in your business and have a team that's actually rowing with you, right? Instead of the entire burden and the success or failure of your business being on your shoulders alone, okay? So we're going to drop a link down below in the comments. I hope you guys have gotten great benefit from this training. We love to do it every week. Definitely post your comments. Let us know, what changes you're going to make in your business because of that, how it's helped, what questions you have, what else you're looking for training about. And if you're looking to bridge the gap, right, from what we're talking about to actually implementing and making the change in your business, right, and figuring out how that works specifically for you, click on the call. Let's connect for 45 minutes and talk through what those gaps are specifically for you, specifically for your business, so we can make sure that you're on that path, you're in forward momentum, you have traction, and your life in January is completely different than your life today on November 29th. Okay? I hope you guys have a beautiful day, and I will talk to you again. Don't forget to share this training with other amazing women business owners that you know need that help and need that support too, and I'll talk to you guys soon.